What's up, YouTube? Adam Grover coming back at you with another video. It's been a little bit since I posted something. I think the dyno, the 2014 Mustang on the dyno was the last thing I posted, showing Rob Shoemaker's tune with a JLT cold air intake setup on it. Probably about a month or so ago, I picked up this 2018 intake manifold, and I've been working on it pretty much since I got it. Going to show you what I did to it. This is probably, as far as I know, the most aggressive ported, whatever you want to call it, modified 2018 manifold probably on the planet. I don't think anybody would ever put this much time in on an intake. It's got epoxy work done. I'll show it all to you. But there's been stuff cut out, redesigned. Like I said, epoxy. There's been stuff cut back to the point where I had to add epoxy in it. A lot of work. A lot. I've had a couple people already on my Facebook and stuff. If you follow me on there, you've already seen this intake. I've had some people already criticize me. They're saying it ain't gonna help, don't matter. The normal stuff that people say. But my thought process going in on doing this was, for one, I got it cheap. Paid like $150 or something for the intake, so it was cheap. Two, I looked at it as, well, if I can make this intake work as good as an out-of-the-box Cobra Jet intake, I'd be happy. That's asking a lot out of it. This intake does work well. It's one of the best ones you can get. That's budget. It's better or equivalent to a Boss, especially when you do work to them. I think this actually has a better curve than the Boss manifold. Personally, that's my opinion. And at first I wasn't going to go to this extreme, but I had two friends tell me to cut this thing open and pour it. One of them was Patrick Farrell, and the other was Billy Kessel, which Billy Kessel, this is what he does. And he did one of these intakes, not to this extent. He didn't use no epoxy at all, as far as I know, except just to glue it back together. But he opened it up, and he picked up from a ported, without being cut, he picked up another 20 wheel horsepower, according to his dyno graph that he shared with me and a couple other people on a post that I made on a Coyote page. And the reason I made the post on the Coyote page was because I wanted to see if anybody did what I did with the plenum, which I'm going to show you in a minute. The plenum on these, if you know these intakes, they have a thing that hangs down in them. And a lot of people will cut that back and knife it. It's got like two. One that's pretty big, about like that, and then another little, like, triangulated off the roof of the intake manifold that hangs down into the throttle body opening in the plenum. So let me show you what I did. It's the intake. If you plan to run a 2018 manifold, you'll need these lockouts here. They're pretty cheap. This is they got flaps in these runners here, and it's like a VVT. It opens with vacuum, but just block them off. They're not needed. So this is my plenum through the throttle body. I'll zoom out. Now you can kind of see this part right here. That piece comes all the way like to here straight. Now, I'm not sure if it's to push the air over this way to guide it, but a Cobra Jet does not have any of that. So I cut it all completely out. I made a plate and epoxied the whole top. So this has a plexiglass plate in here that I heated and formed to contour to this. And then it's epoxied on both sides, and then the epoxy was taken down, smoothed out, and, you know, blended. This thing is not pretty, but pretty doesn't always make power. So, I'll show you what else I did here. As you'll see, I cut this open. You'll see the lid. Now, when you cut these open, there's pedestals here and here that tie this cover into the manifold to help hold it, I guess, together. I cut those out completely, did away with them. I don't think they're needed. I'll find out if they are. I'm not worried about it. If the thing comes apart and starts having a vacuum leak, then I'll have to pull the intake off and put the stock one back on it. So these are the same deal. It's got a piece of plexiglass or Lexan. I honestly don't know. It's actually this crap here. Not sure what material it is. Stuff that my friend had laying around. He let me use, and epoxied on both sides. This is the bottom of the intake, so I could care less how it looks. And this stuff is caked on here pretty good, and I'm not even going to smooth that out. I could care less. This is a test piece to see how good it works, if it works. These are smoothed out to the best of my ability as far as keeping a little layer over it. You can start to see where this is the hole that is made in it, factory. So, or that I hole sold rather. But it is a factory, basically a factory hole, as you can see. I just went to that size and cut it. So, like I said, piece of that material in there, layered on both sides, the same way that the throttle body inlet's done. And the same thing here. I hole sawed it and then formed it, because this ended up like with a triangle-like shape. So I ground it down and made it where it fit in there and epoxied over it. And it had a little hole from where I hole sawed it. Filled that. Next, you'll see right here, there's epoxy. This sticks out to like probably about like where the top of my finger would be. The opposite side of this side, this would be the underside of my finger, this would be the top. It's stuck out probably a good almost 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch roughly out to about there. It's hard to get in there to show you guys, but stuck way out. And when I ground this down, it ended up going through. And on this side you can see it right there. Alright, and I just pushed that epoxy right through there, and whatever it did, it did. I didn't care. Now first I was just going to do the plenum. I didn't really think there was much work to be done in here, because I got a Gen 1, and the Gen 1 heads aren't really that crazy. The Gen 2 heads they have bigger valves and flow better, and I think they might have bigger runners. But then I started grinding in here and looking, and you can cut these injector bosses and flatten the backs of them way down, which I went too far on this one, because the mistake I made with this one is I had already cut it, these two actually, but this one I went through on. I had already cut this one with the drill and all the bits that I had. And then I got a belt sander and did the rest of them. And I was like, oh, I'll go back and flatten that out. And when I flattened it out, I had already taken it down. And I went too far and went through. Now, this is my personal intake. This isn't something I would do for anyone. This is something I want to try. So before you guys butcher me up too much and say, man, that's ugly, that's hideous, it's never going to work, why would you do that? It's something to try. However, getting back to showing you guys what you can do, you can really take these down a good bit, round them, and thin them out, and then blend it. And when you blend it, there's a lot of casting or glue that sticks out in here. You can cut all that glue out. Let me see if I can get a light. Bear with me for one moment. You can see that the roof way down in there is a different material down here, and it's hard to reach in there when you got a drill, and you know you can't get in there with a bit to really grind this. So I went as far as I could, but you want to get all where it's glued together. Like right here, it had some flashing. I cut it all back, and then there was some. I think it was right in here where that line is. Might be hard for you guys to see it. Kind of see it right there. That line running across. And then on this side, same deal. Let's see if I can shine the light in from over here. This is all flashing in here. And it looks ugly, but believe it or not, this is all smooth and it's actually pretty decent. It just looks hideous. But there's a flashing mark here, and then there's one up right around here, I think. And I noticed when I blew powder in here that I was actually hitting that and blowing back into the plenum. Probably where a lot of the power Billy picked up was off of that, because it's probably causing reversion, trying to feed air down in there and actually blowing it back out and causing turbulence in the plenum. Like I said, this is cut way back and kind of tapered in, so there's a lot of work done in this thing. This is straight and it's pretty high. I flattened this down and I tried to blend the runners into one another. This was intentional, so this isn't supposed to be straight anymore for how I wanted it done. As you can see, it's kind of like a zigzag. It kind of runs around each runner. I kind of wanted to take this cross section and blend into these cross sections so they could, you know, feed each other. It's just my own thing that I did. We're going to find out if it works or if it don't. Another thing I want to show you is some of these have epoxy in them. Right here. This one don't. This one does. This one does a little bit. You can see where that flap is. Right there. That's the lockout. That flap that opens with the lockouts on. That's what that is. So they all have them, every runner. Now, the reason why there's epoxy in some of these and not all of them is because this got really thin right here. This one's not bad. I can push on it and don't do nothing. These ones I was able to push on and it was flexing this seal because I had it too thin. And one of them actually went through one. These two don't. Two in the middle do. This one's pretty high a little bit, but I don't even care if it is because I'd rather it be safe and not crack back out. Went through in the plenum, had to epoxy it here because I cut this open. This is opened up to like 85 millimeter or so, roughly. I got an 85 millimeter BBK throttle body, and it fits this perfectly. I also epoxied this one hole here, vacuum port. I don't think I need it. If I do, I'll just drill it back out. But I noticed when I blew in it, it was actually pushing air back. So that's reversion, and it's going to cause a problem. Right here's a little ugly, that one spot right there. But there's nothing I can do about it. It is what it is. You can't really get at it to smooth it out. If I do, it's going to cut all this epoxy down, and it's going to change the form and the shape, and right now it has the shape I want. So it is what it is. I even thought about blending that in and taking it, filling that whole thing with epoxy, to be honest with you, and just doing away with the vacuum ports and maybe using like this one. But I'm not going to go to that extreme. It's pretty thinned out. Now originally I was going to take this and cut it completely out, but you can't unless you want to epoxy this whole thing and blend it. Like, you'd have to probably epoxy this whole thing out, and I wasn't going to do all that. Thought about it, but too much work, because I'd have to do the top here, all back where it's flanged together, and I was going to try to get this. I think this would open it to 90 millimeters, cutting this whole thing out right here. And if I was going to do all that, realistically, I would actually like to put the Shelby plenum, where it's the oval like a Cobra Jet uses or something. I'd like to put a plenum like that on it, or throttle body flange rather, and use a dual 67 millimeter. That would be what I would love to do. However, it doesn't fit. You'd have to raise the intake way up and get spacers made, or buy the Steeda ones that are $400 or $500, whatever they cost. I looked into it, but way too much money. And this, I'm trying to do this budget, and this is still, there's roughly, I want to say $300 or $350 into this intake now. After all the epoxy, I went through 4 or 5 things of JB Weld. This is a water, I think it's called water weld. It's supposed to handle high temp, and it's supposed to be fuel resistant, all the good stuff. So it's supposed to be good for plastic. That was the main reason I went with it, because it's supposed to be good for plastic and fuel and heat. So hopefully it lives up to what it's supposed to be good for, because if it don't, I might have some problems. But we're going to find out, and hopefully this thing works. Now, my goal is to be able to put this in the throttle body on and make 50 wheel horsepower. That's what I would like to put on the car. If I could pick up 50 horsepower with this intake, I'd be content with all the work I did to it. I believe Kessel, I think his was good for 40 to 45. So I wouldn't be making much more than him, and a lot more work. But you're not going to get much. There's a point that you hit where you don't gain much. You gain 5, 6, 7, maybe, you know. If it made any more than 5 to 10 horsepower over what Kessel's intake made, then I'd be tickled pink, obviously. However, if the car goes the number I want it to go, the power don't really matter as much. But I would like to see a nice curve where it doesn't have all them dips and stupid things going on. And I would like to see it make power. That would be great. Like I said, if I can make 50 horsepower and have that curve where it's just steady. Because some of these intakes, they kind of do this going up. Kind of like a wave, so to speak. They're real. They got dips in them, and it's not pretty. But, like I said, if I can make a nice curve, 50 horsepower, peak, be great if that was average, if it made a nice torque sweep, which honestly I think it probably will make decent torque. The plenum's on the small side, the runners are pretty large, so it should be able to, with the throttle body I got, should be able to keep the plenum full and rob from it. So hopefully my theories are correct and this thing works well. So there it is, guys. I'm gonna glue this thing back together and hopefully I can get it back on the car. I gotta talk to Rob Shoemaker and see if I can get a tune to throw this thing on. I don't even know what he's gonna say or what he's gonna think when he sees this, and it'd be nice if I needed like a Cobra Jet tune with a small throttle body or something. That'd be pretty cool if it had pulled that much air. But I guess we'll find out. We'll see what it does, because it's finished. As far as the work goes, I would like to clean it up a little bit and paint it, make it pretty. I've been dragging the thing around and not caring, because it is what it is at the end of the day, even if it looks like this. As long as the thing works, I don't really care. But I started shaving it and all that, so I might finish this up after it's all glued and paint it, and who knows, I don't know. I'm up in the air about it, to be honest. It's an intake, it's pretty ugly at the moment, so maybe I'll just keep it ugly. Maybe that'll be the cool factor about it. Pop the hood and people go, what the heck is that? And me, I'll go, that's my intake right there, brother. Tell you what, thing make power, boy. Might not be pretty, but make some good old horsepowers right there. That thing, that old ugly girl. Hit him with the redneck voice. Alright, guys. That's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this stuff and you haven't liked or subscribed, please do. And for you guys that keep coming back, thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys. And until next time, catch you guys later.